I'll be right there. I seem to have some issues with my camera. And I'm back. As always, my focus is fucked. My hair wasn't looking like this earlier. I promise. I am 100% serious. It did not look like this earlier. Now it does. I look like Tintin? Kind of. A bit. Like a brown-haired, fat Tintin. That's me. Bearded as well. I don't think Tintin had a beard. Hey, Screen Dream. Closer to Haddock? Maybe. Maybe. I need the hat. And a black beard. That's the important part.
The social media.
Not yet. Maybe. Maybe. Okay, he's redheaded. I remember him as blonde. Yeah. He was kind of blonde. When did they change him? When did they change him? They gave him a soul. That's why. They gave him a soul. I have not covered the leadership change. I was gonna read about it. I was gonna read up on who the new leader is of the Green Party, or one of the leaders. The would it be spokesperson in English? What's the translation? Mouthpiece. They have mouthpieces, not. I changed around my settings a bit, my lighting settings, and apparently you can tell. Especially if because I want to crank it a bit. Come on, where is it? There it is. I'll crank it up so that I can lower this and gain some of. No, that's the wrong one. I want to gain some of this. That feels better. Than my previous setup. I'm not 100% sure about it. Anyway, always hated that they can't. Why can't they call it a leader? Like everyone else, they gotta be different. It's because they don't want leaders. They like. I have no idea. They're for some reason they are really sticking to their guns that they are leaderless. Well, thank you for that. But I've heard a lot of bad things about the new leader. He who does he look like? He looked like an old TV4 presenter. From like the late 90s, early aughts. He had a beard. Oh, here he is. Here he is. Bengt Magnusson. The more interesting issues, in my opinion, is if Katie will change leadership. Katie, the Christian Democrats and the Liberals are absolutely going to have to change their leadership. If they don't course correct before the next election, they're dead in the waters. And honestly, I think they're gonna have to change quite a bit earlier, because usually you change like like a year out or something. It seems that seems to be the prevailing strategy, at least. But I think they're gonna have to do it earlier. Like, I honestly, when I first saw this guy, I honestly thought it was these two were the same. Let's see if I can't open image. Like, I saw this image, like in this size. If I can, there we go. Here, I saw this image in this size, and I'm like, is that him? Are these two the same? He's aged fantastically. But no, it's not. That's not him. Could have been. It's close enough. But it's not. It's not even close. Unless you squint and ignore aging a bit. Anyway. I don't have any anything on him except that I read that he has collaborated with the Rights Bloc in Stockholm, which like in a local sense, which is fine, I think. Like, I don't think that should discredit him. I've read that he wants to move away from the left and focus more on green issues, which there we can have an issue, I think. Like, that's a legitimate issue to have with him. If you think there are supposed to be more left wing, which I do, like, there's already a right wing Green Party, which now collaborates with the left wing, or is in opposition towards the right wing, at least, and would probably rather be in a governing position with the left wing than the right wing at the moment, due to the Sweden Democrats. So I think green politics, green policies are inherently left-wing, I think. So it makes no sense why he'd want to move away from left-wing politics, but whatever. No idea what the Liberals can even do at this point. The Liberals are... both of them are fucked, I think. The especially Christian Democrats. The Christian Democrats are like Sweden Democrat light. Like, there's no getting around it. They've always been Sweden Democrat light. They are the precursor to the Sweden Democrats. They are the precursor to... Are they the precursor to New Democracy? The 90s party? They were built, or they were formed in 1991, and I have no idea when the Christian Democrats were formed. Yeah, way sooner. Way, 64. So yeah. It might have been they've had different politics back then. I have no idea, but I don't think so. Christian parties usually tend to be right wing. I mean, just look at America. I wouldn't call Green Party. I can't see what you're saying there. Oh, I can do that, and I wouldn't call C a Green Party. No, not in any meaningful way, of course. But they purport to be, at least. But that's, again, green policy and right-wing politics do not mesh well. The liberals, what they can do. What can they do? I have no idea. But here, why don't we, before I do anything else? This is since the election changes. Like, everything is moving backwards except for 3 parties. Sweden Democrats, which it's just gobbling up a lot of these. Well, they're not actually. Some of them. But these guys were so fucking wrong. And it seems like Center Party as well. Which I'm not sure why the center is moving backwards. But at least these guys made a horrible calculation collaborating with these. Because that's meant it's all gone here. Everything's gone there, pretty much. And I love it. If I did some calculations. We can do the calculations here, actually. 37.6 plus 7.3. That's 45% almost. Why don't we bring up paint? Just 45. I'm gonna do this. I've never done that. I do have a Wacom tablet that I never use. Let's see. 45%. You know what? Let's be accurate. 44.9% for the Left Party and the Social Democrats. Sorry, and and if we add, can I? 4.7%. That's 49.6%. Oh, right. 49.6%. S plus V, S plus V plus MP. Here alone, they will grab pretty much the entirety of Parliament. But then, I can do that. Why am I not this smart all the time? This is based on, if we base it on only these numbers, these guys, and these guys are out. They are gone. That is 3.7 plus 3 plus 3.5 and plus 1.7 for the rest. That is 8.75% gone. No. It's just off the table if these numbers stand. Like, nothing. Which leaves these guys with less than 40%. This is amazing for us. A lead of over 10% in Parliament. Like it's gonna be. I honestly think if we look back, no. Here, this. I'm not sure I want this permanently, but it would be nice to get back to this. Having one party lead the way. That would be like having a one party, a left-wing party. Like this was when they were left-wing, by the way, back in the 40s, late 30s, when they were actually socialists still, before the split. No, that's not before the split. Split happened back here? No. My history is bad. When did they, when were they formed? 1917? Really? That early? Not gonna watch issue. Split. The party originally is a split from the Social Democrat in 1917, a Swedish Social Democrat left party. God, that's a worthy name. And became a Communist Party. 1967, the party was renamed. But why did they split? I know why, but why did they split so early? The party originally is a split from the Swedish Social Democrat. The Swedish Social Democratic Left Party. The split occurred when the Social Democratic Party did not support the 1917 Bolshevik Revolution. Fucking based, my man. Whereas the SSV did support... What? The split occurred when the search... Oh, this is the left party. I'm sorry. Whereas the SSV did support the Bolsheviks. Embarrassing. Another reason for the split was the opposition to social democratic cooperation with the liberals, which back then would have made a lot of sense. Being part of the cooperating with the liberals back then. Yeah. They are conservative by today's standards, but back then. Can we get some coup d'etat? Really? I have no idea about Swedish political history apart from like the one chamber, the two chamber to one chamber, and like voting rights and stuff like that. This is actually kind of new to me. The first Liberal Party is formed after a coup d'etat ends 20 years of royal autocracy under the Union and Security Act. It may be the first party in the world to use the word liberal in its name. Oh, well, there you go. This information needs to be verified. Yeah, whatever. The Free-Minded Nation Association is formed as the first liberal party in the nation's grassroots organization of the free religious church movement. After women became eligible to be elected to municipal councils in Sweden, suffragettes is elected to the fallen city council of the Liberal Party. Yeah, so I'm... Did they support emancipation for women? It would surprise me if they didn't. 2019, 1902. Okay. Mm-hmm. Can we get it here? Led by the Liberals and the Social Democrats, got majority in first chamber in 1920. The first and blah, blah, blah. But did they support it? Organizations that worked for the political right to vote. Yeah. They supported women's emancipation back then. Like, these are not like they weren't always as bad as they are today. Okay, so the fact that the left party split over that, idiots. But again, they also supported the Bolsheviks. So, I mean, Ebba railed so hard against the former government. Now she's actually has a responsibility as Minister of Energy, and she's tanking hard. She's also the Vice Prime Minister, isn't she? So she has blood on her hands. The fact that Sweden isn't supporting Palestine. We've always supported Palestine. But not anymore. Thanks. It's so crazy right now. It is, for anyone who's interested, it is so crazy that we have a Palestinian parliamentarian, is that what his name? No, a politician in the parliament, whose daughter-in-law's family was wiped away in Palestine. Wiped away. And while he's grieving, he's asked by our semi-state media, it's complicated for anyone not in Sweden, repeatedly, do you condemn Hamas? And he's like, I don't want to answer that right now. Meanwhile, he's made 3 motions, 2 of which were before the October 7th attacks, condemning Hamas as a terror organization. And then our prime minister, our head of government, asks the opposition leader, the former prime minister, his party leader, or not asks him. Let's actually listen. I don't remember exactly what he said. I'll translate.
Jag konstaterar bara det som många har vittnat om.
This is our prime minister. Cowardless. And he's saying, I'm just... what is it?
Det som många har... Jag konstaterar bara det som många har vittnat om. Att det var ett arrangemang med Hamas-företrädare.
Right. El Haj, I think that's how we pronounce his name, was at a conference where people who support Hamas was. That's the whole scandal right now, as I understand it. Not that he supported them, that he happened to be at a conference where people happened to support Hamas was.
Och att den person som Magdalena Andersson personligen säger har vikt sitt liv.
He has made 3 motions. He's like, and he has, you claim that he has vikt sitt liv. Dedicated his life countering Hamas. I don't think anyone at the moment in Parliament I can't translate Swedish political speak. I'm sorry, but he essentially he's like attacking him. The prime minister is attacking him, despite him having condemned Hamas as a terror organization. I don't think that Sweden has ever had this form of political polarization. At least not in a long, long time. Not in my lifetime, I think. Has there been this much polarization in politics? So much so that I think it's actually a danger towards our democracy. I'm not kidding. This is the beginning of what we're seeing in America. Without a doubt. We have government, like we have state media, state-owned media, but not state-controlled media. Yet. Swedish television, SVT, has at least had editorial control. They have allowed the journalists to make their own judgments. They've gotten money from the government fully. They've gotten airwaves from the government, but they have not gotten control from the government previously. Now, they're saying there's no Palestinian state, despite Sweden recognizing Palestine as a state. I don't think that's a coincidence. That's no quinkydink that the new government isn't supporting Palestine when we recognize Palestine as a state. Ivar Arpi went insane on Twitter and accused the left of having never forgiven the Jews for surviving the Holocaust. This is the leading figure. Yeah, I think I actually saved that, didn't I? I saw that actually. Didn't I? I might not have saved it, but yeah, I saw it. It's disgusting. It's actually really disturbing. Ivar Arp. I think I can browse his page without concerns. Oh my God. Thus. The Liberals voted nay to a ban on headscarves in preschools. Which, yeah, of course. I don't like headscarves on kids. The implications are disturbing to me. But government forced clothing, that disturbs me more. A lot more, actually. And the fact that the Liberals voted no on that, fantastic. Like, there is hope within the Liberals. Tiny bit. Their roots is the hope that I have for them. They used to not be as horrible as they are today. Not like during my lifetime. I remember, I've always hung out in left-wing circles, in socialist and communist circles in my teens. And I remember my friends who were part of the left youth party actually going to the Liberals for some things. Like I remember there was they had a classmate or a schoolmate or whatever. We didn't go to the same schools, and they're like, they did something with the liberals to help this person stay in Sweden. That's my lifetime. That's my childhood. And now they're just pissing it away. I don't know what that was. I was going to, whatever. I don't have strong. Okay, why don't I start here? Because I'm feeling myself unfocused at the moment. I'm sorry about that. I'm feeling myself very unfocused, actually. Why don't I explain, I don't want to say my life, but myself a bit. I don't know if this is due to my ADHD, my untreated, undiagnosed... What happened there? My undiagnosed ADHD that I've lived with all my life, but had no idea. I never, and when I say never, I mean maybe once or twice a month I cracked open a book, but I never studied ever in school unless I had a very good reason for it. I wrote my papers and I did the bare minimum. Let's put it that way. I did the bare minimum to get a passing grade. Do I have my grades? I think I have my grades. I might actually have them here. Why don't I actually bring them out? I do know I have my high school grades here. I might actually have my elementary school grades even. Maybe. It is a possibility. I'm not going to lie. And I will show them if that's the case. Some papers. This is for job applications. And I've just collected pretty much everything. Ooh, I have my... I can show that. That's my grades. I'm going to have to no, I don't have my elementary school grades here. Let's see here. What do I need to protect myself here? Should I do that or should I do that? Give me a second. This was kind of impromptu. Kind of. And I need to do that there as well. Okay. And oh, I hope this doesn't shine through too much. Let me just check that it doesn't. Yeah, it shines through. Oh, of course it does. Of course it does. What if I place some on the back as well, perhaps? That might actually help. Does it still shine through? Yeah, it does. Well, that sucks. Can I just fold it then? Yeah, I can. Okay. Here is my grades. Can I? Okay. I can actually just zoom in, though. Can I? There we go. This is my grades. Without studying, mind you. We have... When I went to school, this was a few years ago, they've changed the grading system to a more international one with letters now, I think. But when I went to school, there were 4 grades you could get. MVG, VG, G, and IG. Very well, or exceptionally well, very well, no. Yeah. Exceptionally well, very well, passing, and not passing. Those were the 4 grades. So the more letters you see, unless there's an IG in front of it, is great. Okay? This is me without studying. So I had computer science, I had computer communication. I have no idea what that was be. I think that was like web design, perhaps. Networking, operating systems, personal computer programming. Is like I got some good grades actually, without studying. My elementary school grades were horrible. My elementary school grades were almost all just passing, almost, except for English, where I got very well. Yeah, very well. But that's kind of it. And I studied more during my high school than I did during my elementary school years. And some more grades here. It's hard to. There we go. Math. Oh yeah. I had. So we have Math A, G, passing. Math B, not passing. Math C, passing. But yeah, that's my grades without studying. Without a single fucking day of studying. Those were my grades. Why didn't I study? Because I have ADHD. Because I didn't know I had ADHD. Because everyone's like, oh, you just need to focus. Yeah, I tried that. I tried to focus. I tried to hunker down and just do. I couldn't. I had no way of actually focusing. And after that, come on. Okay, I need to. Oh, it's easy to. After that, I went into the military, compulsory military. I was radio communications group commander. That's me. And I got a. It's supposed to be 3 numbers. 3. There we go. That's better. Here's my grades. They're not the best. They have no, which means I was not recommended for international service. I wanted to do international service. We have 6 and we have 7. And I believe 1 is my knowledge of my position, and the other is my ability to lead something. I think 9 is the highest you can get. So like I was a group commander without the ability to remember. Pretty much. Like my commanders would tell me things. Oh, you need to pass this along to your soldier. I have one specific memory in mind where it's really meta. I've been thinking of doing a one of these meta streams for a while actually. I have one specific memory where my commanding officer told us, okay, you need to have a what do you call it? You need to have a place. No, okay. So we were about to be attacked. Like that's the training on the exercise. We have set up tent, and you need to tell your soldiers how they should act in case of an attack. What should they do? And everyone did that, except for this guy, except for me. Why? Because I didn't remember. They told me, I'm like, yeah, I gotcha. And they showed us where our position was going to be in case of an attack, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, fine, that's great. And I had two soldiers on my troop. So while everyone else was telling their soldiers what to do, I didn't. So eventually, our commanding officer comes up to us and goes, "Okay, there's an attack. Go." And everyone knows what to do, except for my soldiers. And I start running. And the only thing I can keep in my head is, God damn, I hope they're behind me. God damn, I hope they're just following the instincts. And they did. So I place myself down, and they are on either side, and the commanding officer goes by and inspects us, and he's like, "Looks good, Sergeant," or Corporal at that time. "Looks good, Corporal." And moves on. I'm like, yes. My luck helps me once more, because that's always what I've had to rely on. Pretty much luck. I hope people do X, Y, Z, and then people do X, Y, Z. Anyway, I honest to God, I know, and I've talked about this before, blah, blah, blah. I've done my IQ test on stream. And I've told people, or I've told the stream, I told you guys, I told in the video, it means nothing. IQ doesn't give you value. Low IQ doesn't remove value. High IQ doesn't give a value. Low IQ doesn't mean you're stupid, actually. It just means you have a harder time doing certain things. That's it. High IQ just means you have an easier time doing other things. My ADHD doesn't remove value from me. Your lack of ADHD doesn't give you value in any way. All it means is you have an easier time doing certain things. My ADHD just means I have a hard time, A, remembering, B, focusing. That's kind of it. I need the dopamine to keep me going. When I start reading, and I hit a word, or I like a sentence, or whatever, something in the text that I'm reading gives me a memory. I can keep on reading, but I don't take in any of the words because I'm on that memory. Like that memory is all, or just an idea, or what have you. Like that idea, that memory just stays with me. And I still get that despite my medication, which I'm on 80 milligrams of Ritalin at the moment. My doctor, when we were looking at how if I was gonna go on a higher dosage, she took my pulse. There's been no change, absolutely no change in my heart rate prior to medication to on medication. It's been completely steady. And I'm on 80 milligrams of Ritalin at the moment. And I still can't feel my heart rate. I can feel higher. Anyway, it's just strange. Anyway, so whenever those kinds of ideas or memories get in my head, my brain just goes there, and I can't control it. I can control it better now, thanks to medication. Anyway, the point is, I had this when I was a teen. I had this when I was an adult. I couldn't focus. Thanks to my IQ, thank God for my IQ, I still got a passing grade. I've always been able to make good predictions. I've always been able to make good connections with the data I have in front of me. Which was why when I studied in both America and Canada, we have these Like, you have to just cross over the answer. You have these sheets. I don't know what they're called. Answer sheets, U.S. schools. What are they called? Like these kinds of things. These. When I had these, okay, let me put it this way. If I had these in elementary school and in high school, I would have had A's across the board. That's how easy I found them. I hardly studied in university. I didn't study in Canada. I didn't study in America. I didn't study in Swedish university. I didn't have to. I did, but you know, like I found my workarounds, which is why I didn't finish. What I want to get to with all this, with this preamble to me as a person, what I'm getting at. Did I lose focus? Yeah, I did. What I'm getting at is I feel like I've been asleep. That's kind of how the best way I can describe it. I feel like I've been asleep and I've let my instincts and emotions guide me throughout my life. If I didn't find it interesting, I couldn't focus on it. If I couldn't focus on it, I couldn't be interested in it. If I wasn't interested in it, I didn't care about it that much. I've always been left wing. I never knew why I was left wing, really. I haven't been a principled left winger throughout my life, but I've known that we need to take care of people. And if I just look at what has given us results that actually works, it's been from the left wing of the political spectrum. Up until last few years ago, like 3 or 4 years, I've told this before, I was considering myself a social democrat. Not a big S and big D, I mean small s, small d, the political positions, not the party, though I did vote for the party as well. But since I got my medication, since I've been on medication, I feel like finally a world is opening up to myself. I feel like I can finally delve deeper into not just who I am, but who the world is that I couldn't before. American politics, the craziness of American politics, the outlier that the American political system has always interested me. And that's why I've been able to focus on it. But the Swedish political system hasn't. I've never really sat down and read a party statement or anything like that, you know. It's been going along with emotions. So when I look at Swedish politics, I feel kind of like an outsider at times. And that is one of the and all of this is one of the reasons why I started streaming. The main point, not the main point, but one of the reasons was that I wanted to be more. I wanted to learn more. I wanted to teach myself more. If I didn't have an audience, that's fine, because it wasn't for you, it was for me. And And streaming gives me kind of accountability. It gives me documented, it documents my journey from asleep to awake. Not just politically, but in general. I don't know if that's... Swedish politics feels more chummy and low stakes. Yeah, and that's why I haven't been... I couldn't be interested in it. It was so low stakes. Oh, who's got... Like, let's just... that's the wrong browser. Oh, who's going to win? Is it going to be the left party or the left wing, or is it going to be the left wing? You know? Like, it's not left wing or left wing, but it's going to be the left wing or less left wing. Is it going to be slightly... Is it going to be good politics, or is it going to be slightly worse politics? Sure. I mean, I don't like what the Reinfeldt government did. All the selling out of public goods, the opening up to the free market, the transportation sector, like they did. I hate that. The same with the schools, etc., etc., and hospitals. But compared to American politics, dog, it is so low stakes, they can't be compared. Like, Reinfeldt put in motion us moving towards the British, where the British are today, where they are looking at completely removing the NLRB. Is it the NLRB? No, that's the American Union Board. Whatever, they're looking towards more Americanized. Like, we are looking towards France and UK, and they are looking towards America, despite all of them being worse than what we had before. But yeah, it's comparatively very low stakes up until now. Now we're getting at the stakes. Now it's no longer low stakes, is it? When we have a government openly supporting genocide in Israel and Palestine, those aren't low stakes, are they? But yeah, I don't know. My point is, I feel like I've been asleep. I'm finally woken up to who I am as a person and why I am the way I am and what I need to do to change that. And I am so fucking happy about it. I wish it happened earlier, but whatever. We can't change the past. We can only change the present to hopefully make the future better. And that is what I'm looking for. I can save Sweden. Fuck no, I can't. There's apps. Oh, you know what? You know who can save Sweden? I can't. But the Angry Foreigner can. If only more people donated to him. If only. If only he got... What would it be? 6... He wouldn't even get 6,000 krooners in donations if he actually got what he wanted. He'd get... What? 4,000 or something? But he doesn't care about money. Remember that. He doesn't care about money. That's true. That's true. I'm just going to make sure that I haven't missed any. Yeah. Still hasn't posted anything new. I had to check. Okay. Before I do anything in the title... He claims that he has lived on welfare. The issue for him would be that he would have to search for a job if he's on welfare? Oh my God, they're changing the welfare rules, aren't they? I read something about that. Of course, of course. No news. I want news. What? An immigrant on welfare. I know a certain crowd who tend to hate those. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Why can't I find it? News. They're changing, like they've always promised to do, that people on welfare is gonna people who work are gonna earn more than people on welfare. And let me just say, as someone who has been on welfare, who has been on SUS and on disability leave, you do not get rich. Period. You barely scrape by with the money you currently get for that. Barely scrape by. I remember I almost got homeless due to how low the pay was and my ADHD, but that's beside the point. I could hardly afford both my rent and food and anything enjoyable. Like, your life on welfare surrounds you just being poor, not being able to have fun with friends, not being able to go out and enjoy life at all. The logic behind that, from the government's perspective, from the rich people's perspective, is a hungry wolf is more likely to go hunting. That's kind of the logic. A hungry wolf will go hunt, while a fed wolf will stay in its place, whatever. Will just roam around, I guess. Which isn't true at all. Have they ever had a dog? If you feed a dog one bowl of chum, and they eat it up, and then you pour another bowl of chum in the bowl, they will continue to eat it up. Like, I don't think we should have people on welfare who earn, I don't know, 30,000 kroners a month. Sure, like, there can be limits on it. But not being able to actually live life while you're on welfare, that's a fucking cruel joke. Cruel joke. Disgusting, actually, even. If you remove people's joys in life, the idea that they will be more likely to provide or to search for a job. And another thing. Oh my God, I was almost giving a job opportunity. What it was for one day here, one day there in the beginning, and then maybe it would have been more. But I couldn't take it because I would lose money on it, or it would just be a net negative. Idiotic. There needs to be a progressive easing off of welfare. If you get a job, let's say you get to keep 50% of that salary. Why not? 50% of the salary you earn from that job, if it exceeds, if it doesn't exceed the welfare check, you get to keep. Why not? That would make people want to go out searching for a job. That isn't a black, under the table payment. What's it called? No, whatever. Under the table is fine enough, I guess. Anyway, so I'm hoping to with this channel, I'm hoping that I will be able to provide myself and other people, but primarily myself, the ability to understand politics, Swedish politics, perhaps specifically, better. Is that better? That might actually be better. Finland is having some fun with Russia. Watch out for greedy fans who will watch your channel but not pay for it. Oh. The greedy fucking fans. I can't believe you reminded me that you are greedy fucking bastards who won't pay me $5 a month. $5 a month. Unironically, that's who he is. $5 a month. I have to look that up.
$5 a month.
Before I do that. I covered this, but I didn't do a video on it. Everyone else seems to have. I didn't find it that interesting, actually. The whole Hassan Piker, Willie Mack show debacle debate. Debate perverting. The one thing I did find interesting was that Hassan was a debate pervert, which we all knew. Anyway, I did watch this video just to see what he had to say, and I think like 4 minutes in or something, maybe? No? Was it later on? There was an interesting segment that he included, which is was nothing if not to just stoke the flames. Okay, I'm gonna... Really? Nothing? Come on. Speculation. What? Where is it? I know I'm sorry. I know this is riveting content. Riveting. Me scrolling and you just watching my face as I stare blankly at this screen. Riveting content. somewhere in this video, Vosh is in it. Somewhere. I've tried searching for it. Oh, there it is. We can just watch this segment because there's a non-zero chance. Let me rephrase that. There's a non-zero chance that he is trolling. But it's more likely, like it's 99% chance that he is trolling. It's a non-zero chance that he isn't trolling here. But I see what you did, stoking the flames.
And where I was getting this opinion from.
His source that Russia won't invade Ukraine is from December. I'm criticizing him because in February he was uploading videos like this.
I'll change this every day to Ukraine has still not been invaded by Russia. Every day. To make sure that the wishes of these fucking weirdo, like, I'm actually a sock them and you're a fucking tanky idiots on the internet. Will, yeah, change it to Russia still has yet to invade Ukraine.
As of the 18th of February, 6 days before the invasion, it was insane to have this opinion because Russian troops were lining up with medical tents on the border. Here's Vosh from the same day.
Bridges are being built, field hospitals constructed, and all of that, I think, is quite worrying.
Dude, that's that. Dude. If they're building field hospitals is a pretty committed indication of being willing to bring about, like, prolonged warfare. That isn't just moving your troops to the area. If they're building war infrastructure like that, like Hassan be like, it's just a meme, it's just a meme.
Hassan's opinion was a joke at the time. It's not only in hindsight like he'd want you to believe. Hassan didn't have...
Yeah. There's no chance. No chance. Like, he could have used Destiny. I'm sure Destiny has a clip of him mocking Hassan's takes on it. I'm sure Destiny had a prediction that landed better than Hassan's. But no, he used Vosh for a fucking reason. And speaking of Russia, speaking of invasions... God damn it, Reuters. Finland is joining the side of the war against Russia. They've already been there, but, you know. They've closed the border for Russia. They did it 2 days ago. And in that time, I've seen some videos. In that time, Kifels is unrankable. Okay. Finnish border crossing. 5. Oh. Why don't we listen to all of this?
The lucky few on the last bus, for now at least, from St. Petersburg to Helsinki. The bus company says it's having to plot alternative routes after Finland announced it was closing its 4 busiest southeastern border crossings with Russia.
I'm probably going to have to go to Tallinn and then cross to Finland by ferry, but it's still uncertain.
What a pity. I wanted to see my grandson so much, and now I won't. I don't know when I'll see him next.
Finland says Russia has been deliberately funneling asylum seekers to the crossings, with 300 people, mostly from Yemen, Iraq, Syria and Somalia, arriving this week. The Finnish government says it's been preparing for such a tactic for months, starting work on a border fence in April, shortly after it angered Moscow by joining NATO.
My message to Finns is that the government ensures border security in all situations. We have been following the situation closely, and now we are taking the actions required.
Moscow has denied the accusations, saying Finland was making a big mistake and taking the path of destroying bilateral relations. In Brussels, the European Commission spokesman quoted its president, Ursula von der Leyen.
Russia's instrumentalization of migrants is shameful. I fully support the measures taken by Finland, and I thank the Finnish border guards for protecting our European borders.
Other crossings between Finland and Russia, further north and less easily accessible, remain open, but only 2 will allow asylum seekers to cross. Harry Fawcett, Al Jazeera.
They've employed a tactic that both Turkey and Hungary have employed, which is migrants come in from the south or from the east. Let's just push them west. Just keep on going. Just flood the system with migrants. Which, like, we've seen this before. This is not new. This is an old tactic that's been used again and again and again. There's one thing when it happens organically, like I think is happening or happened at least, with in America and South America to North America, the caravans. That was organic. This is state operated funneling of migrants. That is an issue for me. That is a big issue for me. The tactic they're now doing. See if we can't. Is this? What I've seen now they're doing is, since Finland closed the borders, Russia hasn't stopped funneling migrants, because there's a gap between the 2 border crossings. Like there's a dead zone there. So what the Russian side is doing is they're letting the migrants pass, and then the Finnish go, you're not allowed here. Go back. It's closed. Fuck off. So the migrants turn back to the Russian border, and the Russian border goes, fuck off. You're not getting in here. So they're stuck in no man's land between the 2 borders. And the Finnish government, which at least have some conscience, takes the migrants in. They're probably keeping them close to the border, but still. It is a really, really scummy tactic. They are breaking every rule in the book that we have agreed upon on how you treat this. If you let someone out of the border from your border, and they're not getting in, you have to take them back. Okay, that's kind of an agreement we have. But Russia is just going, fuck that. We're at war. We don't care. We have no obligations towards anybody. And then, for some reason, there was a protest against border closings.
These protesters say Finland's attempt to stem the flow of undocumented migrants from the Middle East and Africa is separating families. Authorities have closed 4 of the 9 crossing points with Russia, making it harder for Finns to reach their relatives across the border.
Фактически я чувствую себя отрезанной от своей семьи. И очень переживаю, и они тоже очень боятся. Все помнят, даже я помню, что такое железный занавес. И
she is likening this to the Iron Curtain. The Iron Curtain. If they want to protest anyone, it's Russia they should be protesting. But no. No. This is the Finnish government's problem. This is their fault. That Russia is doing underhanded tactics while we are protecting ourselves against an incoming war. That's our fault. That's the Finnish fault. No. I will not. No. Not even
Это
close.
ситуация, к которой очень страшно возвращаться.
Finland accuses Moscow of funneling migrants to its crossings in response to Helsinki's strengthening defence ties with Washington. The Kremlin denies the allegation. Finnish border guards say the closures in the southeast appear to be effective, reporting 176 asylum seekers on Friday and 2 on Saturday.
Like every person in this protest.
These protests.
No, stop. Every person here should be. I don't want to say investigated, but probably kept an eye on. This is actually like if you're here and you're protesting the Finnish government for what they're doing. Dog. No. You actually need to be on a watch list somewhere. I'm highly suspect of all this. Especially okay, you know what? No, not the people in the crowd. The organizers absolutely should be on a watch list somewhere. They need to be checked out. They need to be controlled for whatever. There's something there's a this is a non-zero chance that it's the Russian government not telling them what to do, but maybe. Oh yeah, the bikes. Russia has provided the immigrants. Here we can see them with scooters. Really? Now we're going to do some wacky stuff here. Site settings. JavaScript. Block. Done. And they've also provided them with bikes. I don't know if these are the bikes. That's not the bikes. Where are the bikes? There's no image of the bikes. Come on. Give me the bikes. Whatever. Not important. So the Russian government is absolutely behind this. Otherwise, the migrants wouldn't have these, the bikes. They wouldn't have the scooters. They wouldn't have been provided all of that in order to cross. The Russian government wouldn't allow them to even exit the border crossing on the Russian side and attempt to enter on the Finnish side if it wasn't backed by the government. It's extortion. That's what it is. We have a welfare system here, which I don't mind immigrants partaking in. I don't care if we have migrants on welfare here. They are escaping horrific circumstances in their homeland. They are escaping persecution. They're escaping famine. They're escaping just a lack of rights in general. So I don't mind having immigrants here. What I do mind, what I absolutely do mind, is other governments funneling immigrants here in an attempt to undermine our welfare system. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Prior to the 2015 migrant crisis, where our left-wing government, who said there is no limits on the amount of migrants we can take in, and then in 2015, when we had like 1 million people a month almost on its way to Sweden, what was it? was it top? How many people? Here we go. Like, this is not almost 10,000 people entering in one day. I think. Is it one day? I don't know what these numbers are. 21, 26, 31, 36. Oh, that's week. In 1 week. We can't do that. That's impossible for us. We don't have that kind of infrastructure for it. And that's the problem. We need to be smart in how we integrate them into the system, not into the culture necessarily, but into the system that we have, so that it doesn't crumble of the sheer weight of itself. That is the important part. And that's the point of funneling migrants to our nations. They want to crumble our systems. They want to crumble our infrastructure. They want to erode what we have. And I said it prior to this migrant crisis, that telling the Swedish people there is no limit to the amount of migrants we can take in, that's a scary proposition. Of course there is. And everyone knows there's a limit. But the politicians didn't want to tell us. They didn't want to play into the hands of the Sweden Democrats. Fuck that. That is what the Turkish government at that time and the Hungarian government at that time was doing. Now it's the Russian government doing it to Finland. And yeah, so of course they have to protect themselves. Of course. And they can't take in anyone and everyone that Russia just forces across the border. And Russia has been telling African nations, Africa, Europe. I know they've been ramping up their propaganda efforts in Africa, telling people to migrate to Europe, I believe. But I can't seem to find it right now. Anyway, I like it's if nothing else, this is proof that they're doing it. If nothing else. God, I'm feeling a bit weird in my stomach. Not queasy, but a bit bubbly. Last week, was it Wednesday perhaps? Yeah, I think Wednesday. My girlfriend got home, and as she was going to bed, she got a stomach bug. What's it called? The not the flu. Maginfluensa. Magsjuka. Translate. Oh, the stomach flu. Okay. She got the stomach flu. And she had 40-degree temperature. She was sitting in, she had no energy. She was in the bathroom for hours during the evening. But it went over quite quickly. So the next day she was already feeling better, but she slept all day due to having been up all night, puking and shitting and freezing to death almost. But I scathed by, I thought. And on Friday night, as she was going to bed, I'm like, I'll be right there. I'm just going to finish up here. Guess what happened? I got sick. So my entire weekend, I had a stomach flu. But a mild one. I had my first solid bowel movement this morning. And I'm very proud of that. I had my first fart yesterday. And I'm very proud of that. But I'm a stupid boy. So when I woke up this morning, I poured myself a big bowl of yogurt. I shouldn't have done that. I should have eased myself in more. But I'm hungry. I'm just gobbling it up. And I'm going to pay for that now. I'm going to pay for that. For sure. There's a new president of Argentina. And he is something. He is absolutely something else. Was it Milei? Is that what his name is? Fiery right-wing populist Javier Milei wins Argentina's presidency and promises drastic changes. Drastic is an understatement, if I might add. Like, this is Chainsaw Man. The dude is fucking nuts. I have no idea how he could win. And people thought this, experts, like, this is going to be a narrow victory, if it's a victory for this guy. It's going to be, like, razor thin. No. 12 fucking points. $12 motherfucking points. Can we get the results? Image. Bitcoin Square. Of course. I am interested in hearing what they have to say. Have I? Yeah, okay. Let's just. Fine. Like, this is not even close. That's the before the final, the runoff. This is how old? October. God damn it. Where's the 2 days ago news? Really? Is it that hard to get the actual results? Can I just get the results? I was not expecting this to be an issue. I had no idea this was going to be an issue. Whatever. Apparently, he got a lot of votes. 12 points lead between him and the other guy. Which, oh, here we go. Here's something, actually. With 99.4% of the vote tallied in the presidential runoff, Milei had 55.7% of, and Economy Minister Sergei Massa had 44.3%. Like, it's not even close. And people like, this is going to be razor thin. Experts thought it was going to be razor thin. Who is this guy? Again, a fucking lunatic. He wants to cut... He's an anarcho-capitalist. He wants to cut the government into nothing. And I fucking... apart from the horrific human suffering that's going to happen in Argentina, it's going to be hilarious to watch it burn. It's going to be hilarious to see the far right go, yeah, anarcho-capitalism today. And in a year, they're going to go, ooh, we do not support him. If even, it's going to take a year to get there. But yeah, by 2025, nobody's going to want to know who he is. He's going to endorse Trump. He's going to endorse Trump. And he's going to, he's going to visit Trump even probably. Or Trump's going to visit him. Something like they are absolutely going to have some crossover there. It's going to be a Marvel's event, okay? A Marvel's crossover event. Anyway, I thought we were going to learn about who he is from a very bad source, actually. And that source is Recent TV, which, if you don't know who they are, see if I can find that person. There's a famous article from Recent TV, or from Recent magazine. Millennials. Millennial. Never mind. Whatever. They are a horrible right-wing outlet, at least. So they won't be giving us any good analysis. But here, let's listen to what they think of his plan for Argentina.
Influencers, the memes, the chainsaws, which I want to talk about because he is there he is on the cover of in an AP article wielding a chainsaw. His supporters, there's videos of them running chainsaws. I even saw a guy with a chainsaw mask like walking into the voting booth. The title of this article for our listeners is A Man, a Plan, a Chainsaw. And that's because Milei has presented something called the Chainsaw Plan. Here, this quote at the beginning, to your point, he says, "The cast is trembling," he yells while brandishing a chainsaw. And he presented the Chainsaw Plan in central Cordoba province in June 2022. It is his blueprint for the wholesale reform of the state to slash public spending, scrap half the government's ministries, sell state-owned companies, and eliminate the central bank.
Eliminate the central bank. He's gonna turn the whole nation into a Bitcoin nation. There's no other solution, I think. Like you need a central bank in a government.
That all sounds pretty good to a libertarian.
If you ever wonder where they fall on the spectrum, these guys are anarcho-capitalists. This all sounds very good. Having no central bank, having no government at all sounds fucking amazing.
Tarian, if he is elected, what are the political realities? How much of his agenda do you believe that he could accomplish?
Well, that's a good question because it's key to what many voters are considering when thinking about voting for Milei. The reality is that if he gets elected president, his party will not have more than 15% of Congress seats, neither in the House of Representatives nor in the Senate.
Whoa.
So he will command a minority, and not even the first one. The first minority will be the Peronist Party. Then you will have the Juntos por el Cambio coalition, if it still exists, and otherwise you will have many small parties. And then you
do they have? Oh, right, because they already have the election. This was a runoff election. So during the first election, they have the makeup of parliament or whatever they have there.
So he will not have more than 15% of all Congress people. Which is going to be a problem for sure if he doesn't cut.
Imagine he won quite handily. So why didn't they why didn't they vote for the same party in Congress? I don't get it. It makes absolutely no sense to me to have a Congress makeup of other parties, and then it might have been like in America where different parts of the Congress is voted on in different stages, and like it's so it's trailing behind like a few years from the areas that voted for Milei, maybe.
Cut any alliances, Now the question
is stupid.
After Bullrich's endorsement last night, and we're expecting an endorsement a formal endorsement by President Macri, he hasn't formally endorsed him, but not officially yet. If he cuts an alliance with them, he may increase the size of his legislative group, but it's going to be hard for him to form majorities in Congress. And then there's the question of who would be
But you don't need Congress to do a bad job. Milei, Argentina, Milei cut ministries. No. Really? I just want what kind of no. Cutting health and science support should not be an option in Argentina's election. No, it shouldn't, but it is. 14% only?
We don't really know much about that. There's some expectation that an alliance with Bullrich and Macri, but he sort of backed down in a way from his proposals, because before that he was talking about dollarization, but there were no specifics in the program, and it just seemed like he would dollarize the economy on day one, But after the August primary, and to try to calm everyone down, he said, dollarization is something that will happen not in the long term, but not immediately either, like in 12 months or 24 months, and there will be a transition period and things will be smooth, so as to not hurt people. So in a way, it's unclear exactly what he will do and with whom he will do all of his proposals, which is what's scaring people now. Many people on the center right are thinking, well, the election is over. Even if I vote for Milei, he's probably going to lose. But if he wins, he will not be able to do anything. So many people, what I sense these days is a lot of sadness, on the center right, just because Milei didn't do better on the Sunday election, and because the math doesn't really add up, neither for the runoff nor for a potential administration. But Argentina is like a Pandora box. Everything changes significantly, like week to week. So everything could change.
How much autonomy, or how much cooperation would he need in order to push what's really the central proposition of his campaign, the dollarization, the abolition of the central bank? Is that something he would have much leeway in doing, even if he had an uncooperative legislature? And is there a way, we talked about it a little bit at the beginning, but is there a way to implement dollarization, do you think, that would not...
Okay, so that's how he wants to move to the US dollar rather than having their own control of the bank? Like, it makes no sense why you do that. Actually. Like, honestly, it makes absolutely no sense. Why you'd why'd you allow that? It's one thing inside the EU where you have member states of the EU be part of the euro, because they are part of the EU, but Argentina is not part of the US. So I have no idea. Maybe this is why. maybe this is why, actually. Maybe it could have some reason for it, at least. Okay.
Create the sort of
you guys are boring
scenario.
as fuck. Sorry. Channel 4.
This is the Buenos Aires you don't see in postcards.
Oof.
Slums like the Villa 2124 have long been bastions of support of the ruling Peronist party. But with more than 40% of Argentines living in poverty, there is a new kid on the block who doesn't look or speak like any other politician. And he's leading the race to become Argentina's next president.
Yo filosóficamente soy anarcocapitalista. El Estado es el enemigo, es una organización criminal.
Milei's message is reaching voters fed up with the usual politics.
La gente está cagada de hambre acá. No es porque vivamos en la villa no tengamos hambre, no, sí hay hambre.
Walter fixes bicycles for a living, but still relies on government-funded free meals, water and electricity to survive. The sort of state intervention that Milei opposes and would like to cut. But Walter will vote for him anyway. He wants change.
Yo por mes estoy cobrando 60.000 pesos.
Damn, that's nothing.
No puedo comprarme calzado, ropa, porque la ropa está muy cara hoy en el día. La Argentina va para abajo.
For Walter, things can't get much worse.
Yo lo veo a Milei, digamos, una persona, digamos, ya que quiere cambiar la Argentina.
Javier Milei wants to upend...
I can't blame the voters for thinking change will do something, at least. I have no idea. Why did the Argentinian society, or the Argentinian the pesos, I think, crumble like that? Why Argentinian peso has down spiraled? Out of options and money, Argentina presses the panic button. Central bank hikes key interest rate to 118% from current 97%. Whew. Death spiral. Can I just reject all? Thank you. But give me the content. How Argentina's economy crumbles. This is a long write-up. What it looks like when a country doesn't trust its banks. I went to Argentina and the US did a bank run. What? Okay, this is a hard, a big. Okay, I can see why someone with someone in Argentina is like, oh, he's gonna remove the central bank. You mean the system that has fucked us over? Fucking A, I can understand that based on the headlines alone. Actually, damn, that's hard. I have no idea. This is a very unfocused stream. I don't know why. I've taken my meds. I have. I don't know. Okay, let's actually just do a segment, a complete segment, hopefully. Hopefully. I've never watched Philosophy Tube, I think. Like, I might have watched one video here, one video there. The most I actually engaged with this channel and Abigail Thorne in general as a character was here in this when she came out as trans, which, by the way, how she handled this, because she had been transing herself for quite some time but hadn't changed her appearance at all, kept everything on the down low, and just stuck with her male name, beard, everything, you know. That can't have been easy. So I have respect for that. But now she's come out with, here's what ethical AI really means. Well, now, but a month ago. But still, I want to watch. I want to see what she has to say about ethical AI.
Catch this video ad-free
Nope.
and to destroy the world? That's the question on a lot of people's lips. AI is coming, they say. It's inevitable, they say. We'd better teach it to be good and hope it listens. Can we make ethical AI? The future may depend on
it. Is this a normal way of introducing her videos? I have no idea.
The AI people are most worried about is artificial general intelligence, or AGI, a digital consciousness that surpasses humanity and might decide to do away with us. A lot of money, effort, and anxiety is right now being poured into making sure AGI aligns with human values. But I'd like to put the alignment problem to one side for the moment. We will come back to it later. AGI does not currently...
Why is she recording this in an echo chamber?
...exist. What we do have are a lot of very different tools that are all called AI. We have algorithms that judge people on their parole hearings, job applications, and credit scores. We have security systems that can recognize faces and voices. And we have text and image generators like DALL-E and ChatGPT. We are going to be talking about all of that, because before we get anywhere close to Skynet, there are ethical dilemmas that arise for regular AI. We know that AI can produce unethical outcomes. For example, in 2018, Amazon experimented with using it to review job applications and rate them from 1 to 5. They had to scrap it when it started downgrading applications from women. So, we know that things can go wrong. Is there anything we can do about it? There are two broad approaches. The first is build it better. Just build better AI. For example, data scientist Fabian Begang says we need to recognize algorithmic decision-making has 2 steps. In step 1, the model makes a prediction, like this resume is a 5 out of 5. In step 2, it allocates something on the basis of that, like therefore, you should give this person a job. These are really 2 separate tasks, and therefore there are 2 different ways things can go wrong. In step 1, prediction, the model might be inaccurate, like Amazon's AI. It looked at all the resumes submitted to the company in the previous 10 years and learned the patterns, which might sound good, but tech is a very male-dominated field. So the system concluded from its limited training data that men must be better applicants because they get offered more jobs, and that's not true. So if the problem is accuracy, then more data and more diverse data could help. Instead,
more specific. I'm not gonna claim that I'm an expert. She's clearly researched her shit, but I would assume a better data set, perhaps. But also, when it comes to tech, I don't know how good that is to have an AI go over the past 10 years, because things have changed a lot in that span of time. So I don't know, but yeah, I think a better data set, a more directed data set, remove gender, remove names, remove like what is it that you're actually looking for in a job, and feed it that. Feed it the parameters you're looking for, the actual education levels, the actual experiences, etc., etc., etc. Not the names, not the genders, not the age, you know?
Step 2, allocation, the model might be unfair, like Amazon's AI offered jobs mainly to men. So we just constrain what the model can do. For example, tell it that if 30% of applications come from women, 30% of jobs need to be offered to women too. If the problem is fairness, just tell the computer to be fairer, and we've done it. We've made ethical AI, and all it took was 1 bit of code. If evil, then don't. But maybe it's not that easy. Here's an ethical dilemma. Suppose we are building an AI to help a university decide which students should be offered scholarships based on their resumes. The university wants to save money by accurately predicting which students will achieve a certain grade level that represents a good use of funds. And suppose at this particular university that students of color drop out more than white students and are therefore more likely to represent a loss of scholarship money. The AI we build will learn that pattern. However, suppose that students of color drop out more because there's problems with faculty racism and lack of affordable housing and harassment by campus police. They do drop out at higher rates, and race is a predicting factor, but it's not their fault. So, should we alter the model to ignore race? That seems fair, but it would make step 1, prediction, less accurate, and undermine the purpose for which the university wants to use the AI. As for step 2, allocation, we could tell the model that if 30% of applications come from students of color, then 30% of offers need to go there too. If racism, then don't. But that would mean some scholarships get offered to students who really weren't the most likely to succeed.
Okay, I'm going to try something here because I'm not really adding much. So I want to try doing something here. Why don't I play some games while we listen? Can we do that? Can we do that? I think we can. Yes, we can. Oh, right. And I'm going to have to... still going to have to do... And... the second monitor... How do I do this without okay, device not available? There we go. That's why. And then we can unlock and just go. No, we don't want to do it the other way around. No, we don't want to do it this way around. And go like that. And if I now... No, I can't see myself. If I go here, I have it there. I can double tap it even. Okay. Now I won't be able to see myself, so I'm hoping this works.
Which again undermines the point of building it. And you might say, well, that doesn't matter. It's fairer that way. And personally, I'd agree with you. But now we're not talking about technology. We're talking about political philosophy. Because it turns out there's a trade-off between accuracy and the kind of society we should live in. And the trouble with that is, not everyone agrees what kind of society we should live in. This dilemma can come up a lot. Another example might be, if you search Google Images for CEO, should it show you pictures that accurately reflect most CEOs, which is to say, pictures of men, and therefore risk reinforcing sexist biases? Or should it show you images of the kind of world we want to live in, where CEOs of all genders are guillotined for their crimes? So okay, how to make ethical AI? We've got build it better, and there are some ideas there, but also some trade-offs. So maybe we also need police it better. AI can never be perfect, so when it goes wrong, we need to make sure that people have options. In the novel The Trial by Franz Kafka, the protagonist, Joseph K., is arrested, and as he moves through the criminal justice system, he's never told what crime he's accused of. The story is horrifying because Joseph is rendered powerless by the bureaucracy. He can't take action, and he can't even find out what action he could take until eventually he is executed and never told why. Philosopher Kate Vredenburg says that when AI goes wrong, it's like a Kafka novel. You get denied something and you don't know why. And if you don't know, you can't improve. If you're...
That reminds me of YouTube, perhaps? There's a... You have no idea what crime you've committed, or they give you a name. Oh, you harassment, like in Dylan Burns' case. Oh, you've harassed. Okay, where? Show me where. Nothing. It is actually kind of Kafkaesque. I will agree.
Your resume gets rejected by the recruitment AI that doesn't give you any feedback, you can't write a better resume next time. Not only does that make you powerless, she says it'll probably undermine people's trust in institutions that use AI, which could be a big problem if we're talking about, say, a court. So she proposes the right to an explanation. If an AI makes a decision that affects your life, you should be entitled to know why it did that. In some places, like the EU, this is already a real legal right. But here's another dilemma. If I own the recruitment software that rejects your resume and you say, explain this, what kind of explanation do you want me to give? Do you want me to tell you how the model works generally? Like, do you want me to show you the code? Or tell you what it did specifically in your case?
Yes.
There might be some practical trade-offs to be made here. If I'm a big company, then I might not have the time to give you individual feedback. The most helpful kind of explanation would probably be what's called a counterfactual one. That's where we say, if you had done this differently, the AI would have given you what you want. Like, if you hadn't spelled the company name wrong on your application, it would have given you the job. That kind of explanation is useful because you can do better next time. Obviously though, if we're giving counterfactual explanations of algorithmic decisions, those counterfactuals need to be true. It needs to be true that if you had spelled the company name right, the AI would have given you the job. Otherwise, that's not actually a useful explanation. And that can present a problem, because a lot of AIs are what's called black box models. They use multiple layers of non-linear programming, and they're so complicated that their outputs are a mystery even to their creators. We could guess that if you spelled the name right, it'd give you the job, but how can we prove that to you? One solution to this is quite fun. Have you ever heard the nursery rhyme about the old lady who swallowed a fly, so she swallowed a spider to catch the fly? It turns out you can kind of do that with AI. If we have a black box model whose behavior we want to explain, we can build a second surrogate model to approximate a simpler version of what the first one did and get counterfactual explanations from that. It's kind of like when police hire actors to do crime scene reenactments and show what probably happened. Like, it's not bulletproof, but it is an option. However, here's another dilemma. Suppose we build an AI whose outputs we know are unfair, like we deliberately build the racism machine, and we put it in charge of our company's recruitment. It's a black box model, so when a candidate of color gets rejected and requests their right to an explanation, we turn to our surrogate model, which tells lies. We build the racism machine, and then we build the Uncle Tom machine to tell everybody that the racism machine just has some legitimate concerns, and by calling it the racism machine, you're actually silencing artificial voices, which is not very tolerant of you. So you use your right to an explanation, but the explanation you get is bullshit. And you probably don't have the time or expertise to prove it. This process is called fair washing, and it was first proposed by a group of scientists in a paper published in 2019. Not content with establishing the theoretical possibility, they did it. They built an AI they knew was biased. They deliberately built the racism machine, and then they built a second surrogate model that they called Laundry ML to launder the outputs of the first one. Turns out, you can make the results seem fair even when you know they're not. Weirdly, after that paper was published, Laundry ML got a job writing for The Telegraph. Okay, how to make ethical AI? We've tried build it better and police it better, and there are options there, but also limitations. Technical limitations, yes, but also there seems to be a deeper problem. I'd like to talk about the penis detection machine. Fair washing isn't just a technical snag. The reason it's an issue is ordinary people wouldn't have the ability to challenge institutions who misuse AI. So not a tech problem, a problem of unequal power. And indeed, a whole suite of problems present themselves when we remember that AI, and all technology, is used in an already imperfect society. A fantastic illustration of this is the penis detection machine. If you've flown on a plane in the last few years, then you've probably seen one. It's the thing that you step into at airport security, and you put your hands up and it goes... Its proper name is the full body scanner, but we in the trans femme community know it as the dick detector, the cock spotter, the wang radar, or the penis detection machine. If you're cisgender, which is to say not transgender, then you might not know this. But just before you step into that scanner, someone on the other side looks at you and then presses one of two buttons, blue or pink. The scanner looks for lumps that might indicate something hidden under your clothing, which if you are a transgender woman with a penis and breasts, presents a dilemma. If they press the blue button for boys, then the machine thinks that your titties are the bomb. If they press the pink button for girls, then it's unexpected item in shagging area. You might have to answer some humiliating questions, possibly out yourself as trans, and maybe get groped by airport security. And we do laugh about it, but
I'm an idiot.
Going through that in front of my parents was one of the most humiliating experiences of my life. The penis detection machine sees the presence of a penis on a woman as strange. It does that because it was built by cis people.
Not just because it was built by cis people. Partially, sure. But it is strange. It's an anomaly. It's an outlier, you know? So it's kind of... I don't like those machines. I actually refuse that machine when I was traveling in my first and only time I had the option, I think. Or the first and only time I went through that machine. Or I was presented with it. I actually refused to go through that machine. Because I also know that they've recorded and stored all that data in certain areas. So I refused it, and they did a normal scan, or not a normal scan. They made me go through a metal detector, and then I got a pat down afterwards. But you can refuse it, or you could at least, when I was traveling in Thailand. But yeah, it's hard to, like she's gonna say, how do we fix this? She probably won't have an answer for that. It's hard.
If I'd built it, I'd make it so that it called every woman strange if she didn't have a penis, which would be extremely funny. And also makes the point that technology encodes ways of seeing. The real world is not simple and black and white, and doesn't always correspond to binary gender, but the machine expects that. Moreover, by being part of a system of surveillance, and occasionally humiliation and assault, it helps enforce binary gender. When all you have is a hammer, all your problems look like nails. We often assume that machines like that detect information that's already there, but they also do the opposite, project information onto the body in a process that scholar Simone Brown calls digital epidermalization. The machine tells you what certain features of your body signify, like, that's strange. You, the person whose body it is, might be like, this isn't strange. For me, this is normal, and I like it. But people assume that machines are neutral, so they listen to the machine more than they listen to you, and that can land you in trouble. The term epidermalization comes from philosopher Frantz Fanon, who spent some time in France in the 40s and 50s, and found that people called him strange, unwelcome, and dangerous because he was black. They weren't just detecting the color of his skin, they were projecting meaning onto it. And this could happen anywhere. On the bus, at work. He was never secure, because at any moment he could have the meaning of his being assigned to him by a white person. And he said that's part of what it means to be in a racial minority. You don't get to stand up and say, this is me, this is my deal. White people tell you what your deal is.
Digital epidermalization is the exercise of power cast by the disembodied gaze of certain surveillance technologies, for example identity card and e-passport verification machines, that can be employed to do the work of alienating the subject by producing a truth about the body and one's identity or identities, despite the subject's claims.
What does this have to do with AI? Well, consider something like facial recognition AI. and in particular, automatic gender recognition. In theory, that's a useful piece of tech. If we're looking for someone in a crowd using facial recognition, and we know that we're looking for a man, then by detecting gender, we could immediately rule out all the women and get a result faster. However, you can't always tell someone's gender just by looking at their face. Automatic gender recognition might work well enough most of the time, which is to say, the meanings it assigns might be useful most of the time. But like the penis detection machine, it encodes a particular way of seeing, and it's always going to make mistakes, particularly with trans people. Like the penis detection machine, that could result in us being humiliated or even hurt. And you might say, well, that's unfortunate, but trans people are a very small minority. Two things. Firstly, a mistake that keeps happening to a specific group of people isn't just a mistake. That's systemic discrimination.
True.
Secondly, who told you we're a small minority? Being left-handed used to be thought rare. But then we stopped punishing children for being left-handed, and we found out there's actually a lot more of them than anyone thought.
Left-handed people are still a small minority. What is it? 20%, I think? 1/5 of all people are left-handed in the West. They're still a small minority.
Aren't we right-handers lucky that left-handed people never sought what would surely have been their justified revenge? So, how to make ethical AI? Not just facial recognition, but any AI that categorizes people. Recruitment software, university applications, anything. We could try build it better, more data, more diverse data, more buttons on the penis detection machine. And we could try police it better, give people options if they are miscategorized. But that still might not be enough. Tech researcher Oz Keys says gender recognition AI, no matter how inclusive we try to make it, is always premised on the idea that someone else can look at you and tell you what your deal is. And that's always going to be fundamentally incorrect, because one of the fun and beautiful things about human gender is deciding your deal for yourself.
Automated gender recognition purports to recognize gender, but my analysis of the way in which it operates shows that this is only true if one denies the role that self-knowledge plays in gender and consequently denies the existence of trans people. Using a more inclusive view of gender, one that recognizes the primacy of the self, we can see that the systems are not recognizing gender, which would be impossible to reliably do by inference, but instead imposing their own views of gender on unwitting users and research subjects. 30 years of research has not produced a single system that can genuinely recognize gender. It has only produced systems that try to assign it.
To summarize, AI is used in an already imperfect society and might exacerbate existing inequality. The solutions may not always be technological. So when building it, we need to pay careful attention and broaden the scope of our inquiries and critically interrogate our assumptions. I've read a lot of papers about this issue, and in the final paragraph, they always pull back and use a vague sentence like that, because academic philosophers don't like...
I can't do this. I don't know. I'm feeling strange today. I don't know. I don't know what it is. But I want to produce at least one segment that isn't complete trash. That wasn't what I was hoping it would be.
Welcome back to another...
Shut up. I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. And then we're gonna do something at least. Something. No, you know what? I'm actually not feeling 100 yet. And I think that's affecting my ability to stream even. So I'm actually gonna just end it here. I'm sorry about that. If anyone watches all this way. But yeah, I'll try to stream later this week. It's gonna be it's probably gonna be Thursday. Yeah. Take care until then. Bye bye.